Hello, Year Nines. I hope you're well. Welcome to this week's Loom lesson. Just a quick reminder before we get started, can you make sure that you have a pen, pencil, and paper to hand? Also, it would be really useful to have notes and work that you did. In fact, it would be very useful to have the notes and work that you did from the environmental characteristics of tropical rainforests, which was in the 2-week pack that came out to you around about a month or so ago. So if you need to go and find those bits, just pause this Loom right now and then just start us up again as soon as you're ready. Okay, presuming now that you have everything to hand, let's start off with something that I promised you last week, which was a quiz to look at global ecosystems or biomes, which we ran through in some detail in last week's Loom. So it's 10 questions. We're doing this, of course, as I've pointed out, if you don't repeat, your brain will delete. This will help you to cement this information in your mind for the long term. So here we go. Question number 1. Let's get started. The climate of a tropical rainforest is known for being, is it A, hot during the day but cooler at night? Is it B? I say B, but there's no A, B, C, or D, but there we go. Is it the second one then? Mild and damp both day and night? Is it hot during the day and hot at night? Or is it cloudy and wet at all times? Number 2, this global ecosystem is our biome here in the United Kingdom. Is it deciduous forest, temperate grassland, coniferous forest, or Mediterranean? Number 3, this climate typically has a rainy season, meaning both the animals and plants that live there have to survive extreme rainfall for part of the year and a dry season for the remainder of the year. Which ecosystem is this? Is it temperate grassland, deciduous forest, tropical grassland, or Mediterranean? Number 4, the Mediterranean ecosystem is found in varying parts of the world. But which of these is it not found in? Is it Chile, southeastern Australia, California, or Italy? Number 5, to be classified as a desert, an area must receive less than how much precipitation each year? Is it 100 millimeters, 1 meter, 200 millimeters, or 250 millimeters? Number 6, which of these forest biomes can be found nearest to tundra? Is it coniferous forest or is it deciduous forest? Number 7, temperate grassland is found in places such as Russia and Canada, Canada and Argentina, Brazil and Chile, or India and Thailand. Number 8, polar characteristics are cold and dry, very far north, cold and wet, very far north and south, cold and dry, very far north and south, or cold and wet, very far south. Number 9, I am the most densely vegetated global ecosystem of them all. Am I a deciduous forest, a tropical rainforest, a coniferous forest, or a desert? And the last question, number 10, I am found roughly 30 to 40 degrees north of the equator. I am inland, away from the coasts, with hot summers and cold winters. Am I temperate grassland, tropical grassland, coniferous forest, or desert? Now you may choose just to pause for a moment, just to review that. If you do, just press pause for a moment and pick us back up in a second. If you're ready to carry on, I'm going to go back to the start and let's run through those answers. So let's go back to question 1. So the climate of a tropical rainforest is known for being hot during the day and hot at night. Remember, it's hot and humid at night. All that water vapor in the air, keeping it warmer overnight. So it is hot during the day, but cooler at night. So the first one. Number 2, this global ecosystem is our biome here in the United Kingdom. It is deciduous forest. Remember, that's what would cover London if London, the city, didn't exist. Number 3, this climate typically is a rainy season, meaning both the animals and plants that live there have to survive extreme rainfall for part of the year and a dry season for the remainder of the year. Which ecosystem is it? It's tropical grassland or savanna, so the third option. So half the year, remember, it's like a desert. The other half of the year, it's like a rainforest. Number 4, the Mediterranean ecosystem is found in varying parts of the world, but which of these is it not found in? Well, it's southeastern Australia, and that's because it's actually found in southwestern Australia, which is the area around the city of Perth. The southeastern end of the country is actually got tropical rainforest. Think if I'm a celebrity, then you know where you are. Number 5, to be classified as a desert, an area must receive less than how much precipitation each year? Well, it's the fourth option. It's less than 250 millimeters per year. Number 6, which of these forest biomes can be found nearest to tundra? It's coniferous forest. It can survive temperatures that are quite low, which is why they're found further north, whereas deciduous forest, our biome, needs to be a little bit warmer. Number 7, temperate grassland is found in places such as, it's the first option, Russia and Canada. Also other parts of Eastern Europe and North America as well, but none of those other options that I have given you. Or should I say combinations, because obviously Canada is in there, but certainly not Canada and Argentina. Number 8, polar characteristics are cold and dry, very far north and south. The Arctic and the Antarctic. So there you go. So it's places such as Greenland and Antarctica, so very far north and south. Number 9, I am the most densely vegetated global ecosystem of them all. I am a tropical rainforest. Remember, you've got all that precipitation, vegetation competing for space because there's so much rain to use, and all the decomposing nutrients as well. It's just perfect for the plants that have adapted to the conditions, and we'll be going on in a moment to look at those plants that have adapted to the conditions. And number 10, finally, I'm found roughly 30 to 40 degrees north of the equator. I'm inland, away from the coasts, with hot summers and cold winters. I am temperate grassland. Okay, I hope you've done well there. If there's something you're not sure of and you need any clarification, go back through your notes from last week's Loom, or go back through the 2-week work from that bits that we've just covered. And I'm sure that you'll be able to sort out anything that you still have doubts about. But if in doubt after that, don't forget that you can always drop us an email and we will be more than happy to help. Right, let's switch our PowerPoints here. Now, moving on. I'm going to use most of the slides from the 2-week work for today's Loom. where we were looking at the environmental characteristics of tropical rainforests. And what I'm going to do in particular, let's just page down through here, is focus on the exam question that we had there. So describe and explain the main plant adaptations in a tropical rainforest environment, a 6-marker. Now, if you've done it already, as I hope you have by now, great, good. You can compare your answer to mine, and if necessary, make any corrections you need to in another colour pen. If you haven't done it yet, I'm a bit disappointed, but this will enable you to get fully up to speed with how best to get 6 marks for this type of question. Now, if you have the opportunity to have sight of it whilst we're doing this, it would be handy if you could bring up pages 58 and 59 of the textbook. If you could just have them on a laptop or tablet. They were included in your 2-week work in a PDF format, so just look for those. Now, this question. So I gave you some instructions to help you some pointers to help you make the most of this. So first of all, look at the mark scheme. 6-mark question. Box the command words. Well, we've got 2 here on this 6-marker. So we've got describe and explain. Underline the geography. So we're looking at main plant adaptations in a tropical rainforest. And then I suggested as well that we P this. So in answering the question, remember to make your point, explain your point, and use named examples. So provide evidence. I also suggested it'd be a really good idea to finish with a 1-sentence conclusion. The only thing I didn't suggest to you when I put this work together, which is probably just a very good idea on reflection, is to have a generic introduction, something just to help you to be able to feel your way into the start of answering the question. So really and truly, it's as much to help you as any other benefit. Now, if we just move this screen forward a second, as you can see, I have kept the information here that we need, so we can take a look at that. What I've done is I have come up with a model answer for this, and I've color-coded it. So the introduction that I've offered and the conclusion I've offered, I've done in red. And where I suggested that you needed to give 3 reasons for this 6-mark question, each of those is color-coded in a different shade of green. So to start us off, this is how I would have tried it, but I'm sure there are many other different adaptations to this type of answer. So look to see whether yours follows the similar pattern. So as an introduction, I will put something along the lines of most plants in the tropical rainforest have adapted. So I'm signaling the fact that I have read the question. I am answering a question on plant adaptations. For example, for the need for sunlight, thin soils, or dark conditions. Okay, so why have I picked 3 things there, and why have I made specific mention of them in my introduction? Well, reason simple. What I would suggest when you're answering something like this is to make quick notes first. So what things are you looking to cover? So if we go back through the slides, let's take a look here. So emergents grow very tall and straight so they can get as much sunlight as possible. So one of the things I might be looking at picking up on, therefore, as I've decided, is sunlight. If we go back again, thin soils. Now we've covered this. So heavy rainfall can quickly dissolve and carry away nutrients, something termed leaching. But because the soil is thin and there's little nutrients there, you will find plants, for example, like epiphytes, that grow right on the tree bark, so they don't actually need the soil. So going back to our answer again, I can cover thin soils by looking at epiphytes. Another thing we could look at is dark conditions. So let's go back again. So lianas, for example, they have adapted to life in the rainforest by using trees as support to climb up the canopy to get the sunlight and so counteract the dark conditions. So all I've done is I've looked at the slides that I produced for you. I could also have got, and in fact I have with some of the information I've put into my answers, got a little bit more detail from page 59 of the textbook. And I've structured my answer around those three things. Now, you could have picked other things, for example, thin, smooth bark on the trees to allow water to flow easily down the trees. Also, the flexibility in many leaves so they can turn up to face the sun, for example, or the fact that leaves have a drip tip. So there are, I've just picked three. You could have picked three others. So don't for 1 minute think if you haven't picked the same three as me that you've made some sort of mistake, because it's very unlikely that you have. But let's look at the three that I've chosen and let's look at how I've structured them into the answer. So first, some trees, such as kapok, grow very tall because of the competition for sunlight. They can grow over 40 meters high, supported by special buttress roots. So, two sentences. What have we got in there? We've got our point, we've got our explanation, and we've got our evidence. So we've got kapok, that's our named example. Our point is that they grow very tall because of competition for sunlight. Our evidence, as I say, is the kapok, and we've explained that they're able to do this supported by special buttress roots. Bang, 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 point, evidence, explain. Secondly, plants called epiphytes grow on the tree bark rather than the ground. As they get their nutrients from air and water, they do not need the soil, which contains only a limited amount of nutrients near the surface. So same thing again. We've got our example, epiphytes. We've made our point, we've explained where they grow, and we've explained the reason why. So we've so far got two of the three reasons for this question. Let's bang in our third one. So thirdly, lianas. Vine-like plants have adapted to life in the rainforest by using large trees as support to climb up to the canopy for sunlight. So we've explained why they do it, we've explained how they do it, and we've put in our named example. So far, we've got our introduction there in the red, really just signposting to you what it is that you're going to cover. So you can make sure I've got my sunlight example. So that's the first one. I've got my thin soils example, second one, dark conditions, third one. And when you're building your revision tools, it's a good idea to start thinking about this sort of detail. So examples of a tree, kapok. How tall does it grow? Over 40 meters high. How is it supported? It's got special buttress roots. Why is it so high? Because it's in competition for sunlight. Epiphytes. Where do they grow? On the tree bark. Why is that? Because they get their nutrients from the air and the water. Why don't they get it from the soil? Well, there's only a limited amount of nutrients down near the surface. Also, if they're going to get sunlight, they're better up on the tree where they're more likely to be able to get it. If they're down on the floor of the tropical rainforest, they're not going to get so much light. Bingo. So make these things clear, make your revision organized. Also make sure that you've got named examples in there. Keep focusing on remembering the named examples. I know some of these words are a little bit hard to pronounce. I know some of them are a little bit hard to spell, but it's worth investing the time and effort to try and commit them to your memory. Keep repeating them so you don't delete them. Okay, so we've got our introduction, we've got our 3 points. There's only one thing we're missing at the moment. That's our 1-sentence conclusion. These are all adaptations that plants have made in order to thrive in the tropical rainforest environment. You're just confirming to the person who is marking the work that you have answered the question and understood what it asked you to do. I hope this is making things clearer. I hope this is fairly straightforward. It's certainly designed to be so. And join us again next week for next week's Loom lesson. We will be going on to look at the issues of the causes of deforestation. In the meantime, stay safe, have a great week, and I will speak to you soon. Take care. Bye now.